Thank you for tuning in to the Afternoon Pint Podcast. Our show will start right after these messages from our sponsors.
Hey, Matt. We're thinking of selling our home and finding a bigger place.
Oh, really? I thought you guys loved where you lived.
Oh, we do. Our family is just growing. With pets. A dog, a cat, 2 guinea pigs, a hamster.
And you're planning on getting more?
Maybe a goat or a crocodile.
Well, I have the person for you. Kimmy Najad is an experienced real estate agent who prides herself in finding the perfect home for her clients.
We're just browsing now. I'm not sure if we really need a realtor yet.
Yeah, no worries. Kimmy can help you with the comparative market analysis to help you determine the value of your home if you're planning on selling, or help you determine the going rate for the neighborhood you're moving into. She can also work at your pace.
Awesome. All right, I'll give her a shot. What's her phone number?
On Facebook, Kimmy Najad, Exit Realty Metro. Her phone number is 902-880-8429, and her email is kimia@exitmetro.ca.
902-880-8429. Awesome. Thanks.
This podcast was brought to you by Dan Lomas. That's LOMAS of lomasfinancial.ca.
Are you a small business owner who wants to keep more of your hard-earned profits and pay less taxes to the CRA? Do you want to plan for a comfortable and secure retirement? If your answer is yes, then you need to talk to Dan Lomas at Lomas Financial.
Dan Lomas is a financial advisor who has been helping successful entrepreneurs and business owners for over 2.5 decades. He utilizes customized solutions that can help you keep your earnings, dramatically reducing passive income tax.
Dan Lomas and his team will help you transition corporate wealth into personal wealth by utilizing customized executive pension plans. Dan will show you how to convert business wealth into personal wealth in a professional manner.
Don't let the CRA take more money than they deserve. Don't let your retirement dreams fade away. Contact Dan Lomas today and let him guide you on your path to financial success.
Visit Dan Lomas at lomasfinancial.ca or call him direct at 902-209-0855. That's 902-209-0855.
Cheers!
Cheers.
Welcome to the Afternoon Pint. I'm Mike Tobin.
I'm Tony Dawson.
And I'm Ryan Schimmel.
Oh my gosh, and what do you guys do?
Oh, I guess you could call it, to me, I think what we do is we get into our underwear in front of a crowd of people, and we do some make-believe fighting with each other.
What the hell has Matt got me into? Underwear and make-believe fighting. Oh, dear God.
You never know, man. We might throw you through a table here today, right?
What?
We might put you through a table, man.
So this is why he skipped this one, is because he wanted me to get hurt.
I think so.
Yeah, he knew that I'd say something off-key and get me in trouble.
Yeah.
Just don't say the F word.
Okay. Well, welcome, guys. So, the folks don't know, you guys both do wrestling. You got into it recently, and, this is, pro wrestling. How did this start? How did, I'll start with you, man. How did you start? How did you get into this dream?
It literally was a dream from childhood.
Yeah.
But, it's, as you know, life happens.
Yeah.
Things happen, and it's just sometimes this is about timing, and I guess the time that I decided to do it was the right timing.
Cool. And what's your wrestling name?
My wrestling name is Duce.
Deuce.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how'd you pick that, or did somebody pick that for you?
Duce came from when I was playing hockey. I played hockey for Ilsley.
Yeah.
And my last name's Dawson, but for some reason they would call me Dawson for some reason. And then eventually guys would just call me Duce for short. Mm-hmm. And when I was thinking of a name, I was just like, man, I can't think of anything. And I was like, hey, man.
You had a name.
Why not Duce?
Yeah.
Right? So
That's a good name.
Yeah. So that's where it come from.
So, I know a bit about wrestling. I watched a lot of it when I was younger. To be honest with you, I didn't watch a lot of it as an adult. I'm just not really into it. And,
yeah.
I've tried to take my stepdaughter to it and stuff. She's not interested in it. So I can't get anyone to go see a wrestling match with me, even if I wanted to, right? But for you yourself, was it roots in watching WWE as a kid?
It was that, and my aunt, we lived right around the corner from the Forum. So from a kid, I went to Grand Prix wrestling all the time.
Okay.
Right, and obviously watching it on TV and just continuously watching it. And it's just what really got me into it was that Attitude Era. I was like, man, this is something I want.
What's the Attitude Era for people that don't know?
Yeah, the Attitude Era with Stone Cold.
Oh, yes.
That.
Now, that's the
era.
exact time when I was watching wrestling. Stone Cold Steve
That's when
Austin,
everybody
The Rock.
was watching wrestling.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And that's when like the McMahon family was in it. And they were like a really good nemesis.
Yeah, Stone Cold was like the guy's like stuff we wanted to do to our boss. That's what he was doing, right?
Yeah.
And I was just like, and just seeing the pop from the crowd and just the characters, I'm like, yeah, man, I want to do this.
Absolutely.
Right,
Yeah,
so-
cool. And your story, man, what's a little bit about your background?
Well, I think we're both around the same age. So
Yeah.
the Attitude Era in the 90s.
Yeah. And what's your age, man? If you guys don't mind me asking you.
I
your age.
am 39. I will be 40.
And you're 39, 42, around that age?
Yeah.
You guys are getting into this young. I mean, I'm saying it as a 40-year-old, right? I'm not, yeah.
And I think that's one of the big things. For me, it was a lot of the time I had gotten really out of shape. Mm-hmm. I was up to almost 300 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
On my frame, it was a little bit much.
Yeah.
And one day I seen the number on the scale, and I was like, you know what? I can't let this happen.
That's
So
remarkable, man. What are you at today for weight?
Shoot or for real or for my character. No, for real right now. I'm down to 220.
Wow, that's
trying to get
that's
down
remarkable.
to 210
Yeah.
and stay about there.
Good.
So yeah, it took me about a year to get that. And I played football for a long time. Me and Tony played football together. And,
Yeah.
And getting to this age, playing that game, it's a little too tough on the body and the schedule and the rigor. And I was looking for something else that I could do to give me, I got back in shape. I was getting some muscles. I was looking for something to do to keep me active. And, on a whim, I was like, what about pro wrestling? And I thought about it years ago, but it was so much harder before this internet, right? And now with the internet, it was so easy to find a school locally.
Cool.
And I did a little bit of research on it. I went in and met them, and I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. I think this is something I want to pursue.
Right on. What's your wrestling name?
My wrestling name is Ryan Schimmel.
Ryan Schimmel, just
That's
straight
it,
up.
right up.
Your
because,
name. Yeah.
Basically, I'm still starting out. I've only had enough things, and it's just a lot easier to be introduced as yourself and to work on. My school we're very focused on working on your in-ring ability. The character stuff can be built and done, and that takes time, and you'll figure that out. But to be a good, safe worker is probably the most important thing in this.
So
business.
you're at the point right now where you're learning the safety, learning the ropes, learning how to do all these different moves and such, and maneuver around the ring safely, efficiently, and not hurt nobody or yourself in the process.
The key here in this business is to not hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Right. We all need to be able to work the next day or work in another week, and so we have to take care of each other. And to do that is to be safe. 'Cause if you've ever seen this, getting dropped on the back of your head, there's a chance where things can go very wrong very quick.
For sure.
And when you're wrestling with somebody, you have to have a certain form of trust.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think in my school's train of thought is that you have to get there first. Once you're there, have fun with the character stuff. But let's make sure that we get you there. Let's not create a character, shit the bed and roll in it, and then have to go back to it. No, let's just make you.
I can see both perspectives, right? So in your sense, you want to kind of grow and learn and make that character. And in other senses, you might have just been born with it. You might have just came into, coming into your own or having that name, having that origin, tying it in. So both sides of that seem to work really well in its own way. It probably depends on your own personality, how you want to work that. Like, now, you learn the technical elements, and then does it start to go to, like, the theatrical type elements that you learn in wrestling? Because wrestling's very theatrical, right? When you think
absolutely.
about it.
Yeah, it's, you know what I mean? I guess some people call it impact dancing because it's all about, footwork and timing and all that stuff, right? I don't know if you got anything to add to that or.
Yeah, I think that it's not understood. Like a lot of it when you're looking from the outside in. Oh, it's just a bunch of guys greased up, banging each other with body glitter on and greased up hair on, But it's really more than that.
There's more to it. It was definitely very, very humbling. As me myself watching it on TV and just like, I can go do that.
Yeah.
And when I went to training, it's like there's way more to it than I thought.
imagine.
And like I was very humbled.
Can I ask you guys what your day jobs are?
Yeah, I'm a videographer. I'm self-contracted. I work through
cool.
myself and everything.
Yeah.
So I like to carry that into the pro wrestling business as well. Right?
I have lots of questions for you. I'm trying to learn so many things right now. It's
Yeah,
my head spinning
yeah,
some
yeah.
days. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, my day job is I work for Nova Scotia Provincial Housing, and I go around and I do inspections to all the buildings and really deal with cockroaches, bed bugs, all the pests.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
So this is a real break from your day to day. Kind of like this podcast is a break for us. Like we get a chance to kind of just be free for a minute and
Yeah.
have some fun, right? At the
Yeah,
end of the day.
exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
yeah. So any crazy matches yet? Like how many matches have you had under your belt?
I'm going on my 9th coming up.
That's pretty good. Well, you said a year.
So I've graduated in August.
Okay, in August. So how many matches? So 9 matches since last August. That's
So,
crazy.
yeah.
Are you becoming a heel or a hero?
It depends where I'm at. I guess majority is a heel.
Yeah.
And it's a character that I like as a heel.
Yeah, good.
Yes, you got a face that you just want to punch.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm just looking at him like I can punch him.
Just an arrogant looking face, right? Like,
Yeah.
you
But
know?
all the best heels turned into heroes at the end, right?
Listen,
if you
man,
look back to talking that were Stone Cold and The Rock and all those dudes,
You know,
like they were
either-
all bad guys at first, right?
Well, it's the same, man. Everybody likes the bad guy, you know.
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
for sure.
You know what I mean? And I've always liked the bad guys in wrestling, so I'm very happy to be that bad guy.
And Ryan, what do you think your fit-in's going to be, man? Do you think you want to be the savior or the?
I am right now. I am what they would call a white-faced baby. I'm trying my hand at that. But again, I have that type of face and that attitude that people just kind of want to punch me in the face.
Yeah,
I'm,
he does look like a dick.
right? If I just go just like this, there you go. Look, if I shave the
I
hair
thought you
off,
look like a nice guy. Maybe, yeah, you
No.
like it. I would, and honestly, if I saw you on the street, I would say that guy wants to be a wrestler. I mean, I would see you maybe as an actor, but not not into wrestling. I would think it would be more like what's his name, Woody Allen movie or something.
Yeah.
You have that fun,
Yeah.
a friendly look to your face, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah.
No, but it's fun because I think naturally it doesn't matter in this what you want to be.
Right.
The crowd is going to tell you.
Yeah.
The crowd's going to look at you.
Yeah.
They're going to make an assumption, and
Yeah.
they're going to either cheer or they're going to boo.
Yeah.
And it's your job to read it, and go with it, and give them the best that you can for that. Right.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's so fun.
Sounds
and
fun.
Sometimes I get that mixed reaction,
Yeah.
right? And it's just like, okay, well, it's a mixed crowd, but I'm going to feed to the ones that don't like me.
Feel like you have a lot of support from your family on this, or they think you're crazy, or what?
Well, when I have to give a big shout out to my partner Melissa because we just had our first child together 2 years ago.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And so coming into this has stolen me and some of my time away from
sure.
them, and she's been very grateful to pick up the load where it's dropped. And in this industry, it does take you away from your family. It takes you on the road. It takes you in training. It takes you, and so to have that support is great. My family, they come to all my matches. My brother's probably the loudest one out of them all, and he's really digging it. And you know what I mean? He's my youngest brother, but he's my best friend. So
That's cool.
having this to share with them and all of it, and I think some of my oldest friends from like junior high, when they come out, because they're like, I can't believe you're doing what you said you were going to do in junior high, and this is all you wanted to do, and I want to be there. I want to support you. I want to see you succeed in this, and that kind of stuff is just, it's what you need, especially in an industry like this where it's art, and art is subjective, right? And sometimes you think you're putting out together a masterpiece, and you come to find out it's definitely not a masterpiece.
Sure, but that's going to help your development of a character or whatever, because and you've also been on the other side of the lens with this video production company, right? Because you produce stuff and you've seen actors, I'm sure, perform and do all that stuff. But tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I think having that skill and really being able to pull it in is very important, because I'm always thinking automatically about a story. I'm thinking about character and what is a story, and a story is all about change. So always having a character that's always changing and going through things that are relatable to everybody else, right? I think that's the most important thing. Not everybody can be an Undertaker, but and Tony will agree. I think everybody wants to be a Stone Cold. Everyone wants to be a
Everybody
Goldberg.
wants to be, exactly. Right? Everybody wants
John
to be
Cena.
Stone Cold.
Everybody wants to be
And,
the
you know
guy.
what I mean? Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
I saw a movie with John Cena on the weekend. My girlfriend and I watched it. It was called Ricky Stenicki.
Yeah.
It's the funniest movie I saw in 10 years.
He is a beautiful
So
comedian.
funny. I
hilarious.
cried laughing. I was so funny. I cried laughing like through this scene. I didn't want to give it away. You got to watch this movie. But he does call himself Rock Hard Rod, and he has this like performance piece that he does when the guys find him.
Yeah.
And anyways, I laughed at this bit so hard. I went outside, took the dog out to use the washroom, came back in, and wound it. I watched that bit again. I don't think I did that in a long time but it was such a funny movie. But like Cena, I mean, what a massive influence that dude had, right? Like, I mean, in the wrestling community, and it's just amazing that I wasn't watching wrestling at this time, but he's like the presence of his character was so powerful that he just eventually crossed over on all mediums, right? And I mean, so there's tremendous amount of acumen to these performances that really stand the test of the time, and some of these athletes they really deliver to a point where they transcend wrestling and they're everywhere.
Yeah, John Cena really does. I mean, look at his Make-A-Wish stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's just crazy what
He's
he does.
he's a pretty cool guy, right?
Yeah.
Pretty funny guy.
Yeah.
And you kind of assume the wrong thing sometimes that these guys might not have the ability to be as smart and funny, and you find out that they're absolutely a lot of them absolutely brilliant dudes.
No,
right?
absolutely, yeah.
Remember, they're in front of 15,000 people weekly to performing improv.
Yes. Yeah.
So that is why when a wrestler does transform over to acting, they're great and they can do it all. They can do comedy, they can do serious, they can do action, right? And it's something too that when you look at Cena, when he was younger, he talked shit about The Rock for doing that same thing, going to Hollywood, diversifying him, becoming better, and now when he talks about it, he's like, you know what? I was young, I was stupid, and to do the amount of things that are required for you, like their work ethic is amazing.
Yeah,
right?
like-
Something to look to.
Like outside like a major like platform like say the WWE, like what's it like as a business model for you guys? It must be a lot rougher, right? Like I mean, I've seen some of these smaller wrestling, underground wrestling or whatever you want to call it. They come and they kind of go. Some of the leagues and some of the things that you see pop up and down. Like, do you feel it's a stable and safe industry, or do you feel it's a much tougher industry when you're not on that kind of, tougher leagues?
Honestly, North America, wrestling has a history that goes back all the way to the Civil War.
Okay.
Right? Like it's been around. That's why the theatrics and everything has been part of the traveling fairs. It's been part of the circuits.
sure.
I think there's always going to be a place for people to sit back and watch combat. People did it in Roman times with gladiators, and there's
for sure.
always going to be people want to see people pushing themselves to the limit. But on the lower side, I think there's a lot of people that wish and dream that they can get to that next level. But I think for every wrestler locally and independent everywhere, you have to be happy being an independent wrestler. You have to be happy just bringing happiness to 50 people in a gym.
Absolutely. I mean, because that's sometimes what you're wrestling in front of. And you still have to be like, you still have to put on that performance, right? But yeah, it's, I'm happy with being an indie wrestler. You know what I mean? Like, I still say I'm still living that dream because that was my dream to be a wrestler. So whether on whatever platform I'm on, it is what it is.
Yeah. Are some of these guys making a career out of it though, where they can actually make enough revenue where that's the only thing they do, like an independent wrestler, or would they pretty much have to be signed on like a big platform? Or do you know?
There are stories like on an independent level, you can eventually make that much money. There were guys that like Sami Zayn before he went to the Fed, he was making over $100,000 a year doing independent shows.
Wow.
Of course, he's an amazing athlete and talent. But I think most people, that is the transition, is if you can actually wrestle enough to provide for your family and provide for your life. Again, here in the Maritimes, we don't have as many opportunities as maybe Ontario, Quebec.
No.
And so, like you said, Tony, here you might get 25 matches in a year, and that's not going to it's not going to bring home the bacon to the family.
Well, it's not different from like stand-up comedy or something. Like, I mean, really, I know that world a little bit, and ultimately, for most guys, you can't stay here and make a career stand-up comedy and stay in Nova Scotia, right? You're going to have to travel. You're going to have to go around across the country. Maybe you might even have to. We talk a lot on this show about entertainers in Canada in general and entertainers in Nova Scotia, and sometimes it's like you almost have to leave like the country. Right, you have to almost show success in America for the Canadians to,
absolutely,
to truly applaud for you and welcome you back, right? Which is kind of an unfortunate thing. But I mean, I know you guys put on a fun show. I think people should get out and they should really try to appreciate this stuff, right?
I mean, every shows that I've been on so far, except for the out of town, I've always had a great supportive showing. Yeah, and that's through like friends, family, people I went to school with.
Sure, yeah.
So like I'm very grateful for that. Yeah. And it's just like, and they've, again, like, it's always like, even after the show, it's like, oh, God, it's so awesome to see you do what you dreamt of doing. You know what I mean?
That's the ticket, right?
Yeah. And they're just like, it's just so awesome. It's like, yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I just appreciate any support I get, right? So.
You wish you started younger, or are you just happy you're there now?
I wish it's something I would have started younger, but again, like I said, it wasn't in the cards at the time.
Yeah, I get it.
You know what I mean? The timing just seemed to be right at the time, and I'm just happy where I'm at right now. Obviously, I want to improve, get better, get more matches under my belt, and hopefully, I mean, the furthest I've been so far is Trackety, New Brunswick. You know what I mean? And hopefully, I can get to that point where I can go, to other Ontario or maybe down to the States. That's the plan.
Yeah. And do you guys do much on social media with this? Like, I mean, I would think that there'd be probably, with the online platforms that are available now for wrestlers, I mean, or independent wrestlers, right? I mean, virtually anybody can get on Instagram today and promote themselves and however they want to do it, their art, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I'm sure you agree too, Ryan. I mean, you do have to promote yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's pretty cool because some people will, at the shows, they'll be taking clips and they'll send them to you so you can put them up. Cool. You put them up on your social media. Yeah. Merch is a big thing for you here. You know what I mean? So I always appreciate anyone that sends me any kind of picture or any kind of video clip of me in the ring.
And as an independent guy, can you create your own stuff? So we got like the Duce T-shirts made, right? And you can sell them online and say, hey, you want to buy direct from the Duce, and you can go to duce.ca or whatever.
Or we bring our merch to the shows, and people buy them there, right? Smart. So
Yeah, I always try to, like, this show's a little bit about the hustle too, so I'm always trying to understand, like, how do you make money at this, right? Because, passion's fun, but it's nice to bring a little bit of extra income.
It is passion, it is, man. Right? It's all about, like, if you're on that show, if you can go out and yourself and put posters out, like, it's just, it helps everything, you know what I mean? Like, I've done it, put posters out, is you probably done it too, Ryan, be part of, you go set up the ring, part of that crew, it's just it's earning your keep.
Yeah, 100%. Right? And Matt and I do that now with the show. We were out last night at an event and we were just handing out business cards for this podcast, right? And just basically introducing ourselves, hoping people listen to the show. Yeah. Hoping more people listen to the show, and hope we can keep growing and stuff like that. And that work never stops, right? You never stop talking to people and interacting or reaching out to new ideas or new people and bringing them into your world.
Yeah.
I got another question about people that are younger, like getting into this. Like, do you see many young people like in their 20s or teens getting into this? Like, is that where the majority of the stock comes from that get into this amateur wrestling? Like, they love wrestling? Because I think as a teenager, when I loved wrestling the most, and I probably wanted to do it the most, would be age, with 16, 17 was when it was probably pinnacle for me. And now, like, do you get a lot of guys that are younger that are trying to get in?
I find now, and this goes to all sorts of extracurricular things that I've done in my adult life. The young 20s, like, let's say 18 to like 23, 24, they're too worried about the things young 20-year-olds are worried about. They're worried about a stable home. They're worried about girls or boys. They're worried about all these different things that are. And I find out at my school, what I notice is a lot more 30s, people in their 30s, because things have stabled up a little bit. You maybe have been at a certain house now for 5 years, and you have a partner. And
next thing you know, you look back, you're like, oh man, that dream never died, right? I still wanted to do that thing that I didn't do.
Right? And what comes with that is an extra form of appreciation. I know, stepping into the ring at my age, I know that every day, every chance that I get, I'm one step closer to the end of it. So time is of the essence. This is something to embrace and enjoy. And again, I think that people who do get into it, no matter their age, there's something underlying that pushes them to do this. It's not just like, I want to be a pro wrestler. It's something deeper than that, right? They want to entertain, or they like being in front of crowds, or there's something about them that wants to put them in that situation.
Absolutely.
There's 2 stories at my school that I think that are really unique and deserve to be mentioned, right?
Okay.
One of them is a deaf professional wrestler. He's the second deaf professional wrestler in all of Canada.
Deaf professional wrestler.
So yeah, he cannot hear. I'm pretty sure he was born without hearing, right?
Right.
know exactly who you mean, too.
Right.
So he must like just feel the vibration in the ring. Like how's he know something's coming?
Well, again, it's a lot more, and you have to train for this. It's not as usual if me and Tony were out there and we could use verbal cues, but now here's a person without verbal cues, and he has his own hurdles on top of the regular hurdles that he must overcome to do this.
I couldn't imagine. Like seriously.
Right. And
Yeah.
I have a hard time hearing people when they're trying to tell me stuff in the ring, let alone just not even being able to hear it and being just on a whim. God. It's the type
It's
of
so
stuff.
frightening to me. Imagine if I was deaf and some guy was coming at me in a ring. Like, I mean, that would sound like an absolute nightmare because the only instinct I'd have is to duck a punch. Yeah.
Right? And there's another guy, and his name is another guy, and he was about a year and a half ago, he was hit by an ambulance on his motorcycle.
Oh, my gosh.
And thankfully, his skull cracked open and released the blood flow on his brain, or he would have died. And basically, after he was coming out of the hospital, the nurses were like, what's your plans? What are you going to do? And he said, well, in 12 months, I'm going to do a top flip I'm going to do a flip over a top rope.
Okay.
And this guy has never watched wrestling a day in his life.
What?
He doesn't even know. He was like, I don't even know. I just said it. And then saying that brought him into wrestling. And now
That sounds like an origin character right there, right?
he's a character right from the jump. And he's just a guy that's happy to be alive.
Yeah.
He is just a happy-go-lucky person. And I think that, everyone has these different stories, right, in wrestling. And it's what pushes them into it, and that's probably the fire that drove them to make those decisions.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's everyone has a different thing that lit the fire under our ass to get going.
Yeah.
Again, like I told you before, it was a childhood dream of mine. But as my mom passed of ALS.
Oh, sure.
So
What year was that?
We're talking like it'll be 8 years ago, 2016.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and before she lost her speech, she was slurred, and the thing that I got was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. But before she lost her speech, she said to me, "Don't give up on that dream," and that was just like, okay, okay,
Beautiful.
Something.
But here it is, like 8 years later, and I'm like, finally, like,
Do it.
Yeah.
do it. She said, do it,
Absolutely.
and I'm just like, yeah, Mom, you were right. I got to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So
I'm
that was
40 myself. Do you think I should still put out the rap album?
Yeah, still will, man.
Like
Still
I
do it.
got a few
Do it.
songs there.
Get
I
out,
can do
yeah,
it.
get it going, man.
I'm halfway
Seriously.
there. I got to take the gangster stuff out because I'm a lot less gangster now.
No, you got to keep it.
Well, you think
got to
so?
keep it. Oh, that's what makes it so
When I look at
classic.
the old songs, they were so aggressive, and I'm like, ugh. I'm more relaxed now. I just want to be nice to people.
No, you got to be the. You gotta be the
No, man, you got to bring the gangster in there.
Bring the character.
Bring the
that
character,
40-year-old
yeah.
gangster, man. Do it.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys are
man.
pretty inspiring in that way, right? Like, I mean, we look at things sometimes and we think the things have passed us, and you both are absolute proof that that's not true. And that's what's really cool about having you guys here. So thank you for that, right? I really do appreciate it,
being on
right?
the show for sure.
And, a lot of years to come, this shit's going to keep you healthy, right? It's going to keep you guys active. It's going to keep you guys in your community, helping in ways that, giving you opportunities to help in ways you probably never even imagined, right? And so, I mean, really, man, cheers to you guys on that. So,
Yeah. No, I appreciate
I
it.
appreciate it.
yeah.
I mean, I think as far as, like I said, Schimmel and I have played football together. I think it would be pretty awesome to be in the ring together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
when you guys going to have the match?
Well, like any good match, you got to build up to it. You
Yeah.
can't just give it to him, right?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
when that match comes, that's meat on meat. You got to understand that. That's heat on heat, baby.
Right.
All right. And And I think that to me, that's one of the funnest things is that I'm looking forward to get into the ring with Tony and other guys that I've known for a little while. That, you know, it's fun. It's not just the first time, because then the first time, then there's the second and the third.
Yeah.
And you get to tell the whole story that way too,
Exactly,
right?
you know what
For
I mean?
real.
It's like
You're going to have a name by then, right? So, I mean, I'm still thinking in my head, Ryan Schimmel, and I'm thinking like a little knife
some
or something.
guys just
Like-
their name just suits them.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
You gotta no. It's a great name, right? But like the Schimmel, what's the scalpel? I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that you could stab somebody with. What's that thing called?
shiv?
Shank, the shank?
Shimmy. Yeah, shimmy
shank.
shimmy Schimmel, right?
Yeah.
Shimmy Schimmel. That sounds pretty badass, doesn't it?
Again, it's so a big part about this is that as much as we are our own characters, we are still playing a character in someone else's story,
Right.
And so you don't want to put yourself as the guy who shanks everybody up, because maybe there's not a place on a show for the guy who shanks everybody up,
Yeah.
right? And
If I could do that and not make any physical contact with anybody, I'll just sign me up. I'll just come up and just fake stab somebody.
This
every
is
now and
pro
then.
wrestling.
Yeah.
There are guys that have remote controls that put people in pause.
Oh, yeah?
Okay, so like, there's a lot of things that
Amazing.
you can put it in slow motion, and everybody in the ring ends up going slow motion. This is art,
Yeah.
and something funny. It's like some stuff you would never see in the bigs, right? And that variety is the spice of life, I believe, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. I'm still waiting to see my first broomstick match.
What's a broomstick match?
Well, when a wrestler wrestles a broomstick,
Okay.
that's what I'm looking forward to, is seeing a good one of those. Because if you can wrestle a broomstick, you can wrestle anybody.
So do they do this at these underground events? They if guys fighting
you
broomsticks?
never know. You never know. There's some guys that have wrestled broomsticks. They've wrestled like 9-year-old girls, and they've wrestled mops. They've wrestled. Okay. But like, that's what I mean. But if you can wrestle it and you watch it and that's entertaining,
I'm sure that'd be entertaining.
right?
No
That's
doubt.
you've got it figured out, right? It's all about entertainment. It's all about having people be happy.
Awesome.
And here's one thing, though, I will say, is the first time, I'm going to ask Tony because we're here, is like the first time someone actually asks you for an autograph. You know what I mean? And the little kids come up to you and you're like, "Can I get your autograph?" And you're like,
Did you get that already?
Yeah,
yeah?
yeah. It was very like there was just this big feeling of joy that come over me, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember being that kid asking for autographs, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then they're coming up and it's like, you know, with their even with, you know, can you sign my arm? Can you do my
That's cool,
T-shirt?
yeah.
And I'm just like, absolutely, for sure, man. And it's like after like I do that and leave, I'm just like, wow.
Well, I want to thank you guys so much for coming on to this show. I end with one last cheers. And
Cheers.
"Cheers, bang!"
Bang.
Have a great night.
Awesome.
Yeah, you too, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.